The deadly traps of the Vietnam War and traps that made U.S. soldiers cry out. Designed to inflict extreme pain upon American soldiers, the traps used in the Vietnam War also had a profoundly terrifying effect. These traps were widely employed by Southern guerrilla forces in Vietnam, cheap, easy to make, highly effective, versatile in form and function, and causing American troops to be horrified were the outstanding features of these handmade traps. Apart from causing physical harm, these traps were often smeared with feces and urine to infect the wounds of American soldiers severely, potentially leading to death or amputation if not promptly treated. Large animal traps had the capability to shatter the bones of an unfortunate American soldier stationed in a remote area. Designed to exhaust enemy resources, these traps were not primarily meant to kill their victims outright. When an American soldier fell into such traps, they would cry out in agonizing pain. This cry had a significant psychological effect on their comrades nearby. An entire march would slow down when a soldier was trapped. Depending on the complexity of the trap, it might require several or even dozens of other soldiers to free the unfortunate one. As U.S. soldiers gathered to rescue a comrade from a dreadful trap, our guerrilla forces would lie in wait from a distance, shooting a volley of bullets, further exhausting the enemy and forcing them to retreat quickly. This tactic would deeply frustrate American soldiers, escalating tension to its peak, making those on the Vietnam battlefield believe that every step they took could be designed specifically to eliminate invaders entirely. These traps were often aimed directly at the enemy's chest, placed behind entryways or on narrow paths, ensuring that the enemy stood in the most dangerous spot when the trap was triggered. These traps not only caused casualties among U.S. troops but also inflicted excruciating deaths, greatly affecting the psyche of American soldiers as they witnessed their comrades endure such painful deaths. During the early stages of the war, these traps were primarily used in the Cu Chi Steel Land to prevent patrols and sweeps by American and Allied forces into liberated areas. Later on, these traps also participated in larger battles at the battalion and division levels. Especially since our intelligence network in Saigon became highly effective, accurately predicting up to 90% of the enemy's troop deployment locations, allowing us to plan trap deployment, guerrilla warfare, and reinforce reserves, leaving the enemy powerless.
Here is a compilation of the various traps used by the Viet Cong. Vietnam War Traps, Part 1, Vietnamese Style. To confront overwhelmingly large American and Allied forces, equipped with modern weaponry, the Vietnamese army in guerrillas created a multitude of traps, ranging from rudimentary to sophisticated, from lethal to merely incapacitating but forcing the enemy to withdraw. While the Americans had fewer types of traps, they were nonetheless cunning.
1. Water bottle trap. American water bottles were stuffed with explosives by guerrillas and rigged inside, filled with water, and then cleverly closed to match the clip. Held in hand, it looked no different from a regular water bottle. Shaking it, you could hear the sloshing water. But when unscrewing the cap, it would explode. This trap was often left behind in bases or placed on fallen American and Allied soldiers during combat. Each soldier carrying a few water bottles was normal, making it challenging to detect this
2.
trap.
Rice trap. American M2 grenades were tightly packed in rice bags, with the pin attached to the handle. It was safe to carry the entire bag of rice, but lifting the handle would unknowingly pull the grenade pin, without making any noise. These types of grenade traps were often placed in bases abandoned by guerrillas.
3. Bullet trap. A bullet was placed inside a small bamboo tube or rolled up stiff paper, with the bottom holding a matchstick against the gunpowder grain, slightly protruding the bullet's tip. When stepped on, the trap would ignite due to the matchstick acting as a firing pin. This was one of the traps the U.S. military found most irritating in Vietnam due to its low cost, difficulty of detection, ease of manufacture, and large quantities available for deployment. There were two common types of ammunition used in this trap: rifle bullets like the M16 and shotgun shells.
Four. B-40 rocket trap. This trap consisted of a B-40 rocket head attached to an empty bamboo tube, with an electric fuse at the tail connected to a wire. After adjusting the angle and aiming direction of the bamboo tube, it would be fixed to the ground or a specific location, disguised as harmless shrubbery. The wire was extended to a safe distance with a good view, where the guerrilla would sit, holding the detonator and waiting for the right moment. This trap had four main characteristics: easy to use. It was often set up on curved road sections where any vehicle approaching had to slow down, making it easy for the controller to activate the launch, target selection. Since it was controlled by a person, it could avoid civilian casualties unlike mines or common traps. Even within a military convoy, the highest value targets could be selected for attack, such as vehicles carrying officers, high safety. The B-40 rocket head had a drawback when fired, producing a distinctive smoke, which often posed a danger by revealing the sniper's position. In this case, it was an advantage. While American troops and allies fired bullets like rain where smoke spread, the guerrillas at the hideout only needed to cut the wire and leave with the detonator. This was also the most difficult trap to detect because it could be placed on either side of the road within about 150 meters. Furthermore, unlike mines or primed grenades, the B-40 trap could not be disarmed. If the guerrillas noticed exposure, they would activate it immediately. Even a misfire would be enough to intimidate the enemy. One person could control multiple traps, creating the feeling of being overwhelmed, as typically each Liberation Army squad would have one person equipped with B-40.
5. Two-way grenade trap. An empty Coca-Cola can was stuffed with a grenade, and a trigger mechanism attached to an iron hook. When stepping on this trap and lifting the foot, the hooked branch would pull the trigger, causing the grenade to explode.
Six. Fire lighter trap. Zippo lighters were widespread during the Vietnam War, as most U.S. soldiers smoked, creating a high demand for lighters. Therefore, guerrillas in the South withdrew fuel and packed powerful explosives into some of these lighters. They were difficult to distinguish because holding it felt as heavy as a regular Zippo. This type of trap did not cause death. When you ignited it, the lighter handle would blow away both hands if you habitually shield it from wind when lighting a cigarette, leaving your face needing expert cosmetic surgery. Stanley Adams, an information officer with the U.S. 101st Airborne Division, bought 2 Zippo lighters outside Camp Eagle, southeast of Hugh City, as souvenirs. He sent one to an acquaintance who did not smoke, so he kept it for 20 years until discovering it was a trap, designed to explode harmlessly. The remaining lighter was sent to the Army Museum at Fort Campbell.
Seven. Swing trap. A photo taken on November 22, 1967 showed the swing weight, which was later found to weigh over 18 kilograms. When a U.S. soldier stepped on the trap, it would cause it to swing down from its hanging position, much like a pendulum. To evade this trap in dense forests with many trees and obstructed views required extreme speed. The heavier and higher the swing weight, the greater the potential energy and velocity. The earliest records of this trap type were in ancient Africa, where it was used to hunt large animals. Thank you for watching and supporting the channel. Please subscribe to receive the latest videos. Purchase unique Vietnamese products on our website, and we will ship worldwide. My website, https://vhshandmade24h.com.